Imagine painting yourself into a nightmare you can't escape. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and shadows embraced her small, cluttered studio, Eleanor picked up her paintbrush. The ritual was always the same. A white canvas, a palette of vivid oils, and the dull ache of loneliness that seemed only to dissipate when she painted. Eleanor wasn't just creating art. She was painting herself night after night, each stroke on the canvas an attempt to understand her own reflection, her own soul. But each morning brought a peculiar horror. Where the night left off a portrait filled with life and color, the morning revealed a grievous anomaly, a fresh bloodstain marring the image, always at the same spot right over her heart on the canvas. Puzzled and disturbed, Eleanor convinced herself it must be a trick of her exhausted mind. Perhaps confusing red paint for blood in her weary, late-night stupor one night, driven by a blend of fear and resolve, Eleanor set up a night vision camera. She needed answers. Was it her own forgetful smearing or something or someone else? As she painted that night, her brush strokes were more frantic, fueled by a mix of dread and the desperate need for the truth. Eventually, exhaustion claimed her, and she fell asleep with the brush still in her hand. The footage the next morning was chilling. The video showed a dark, amorphous silhouette hovering near her canvas. It leaned over and dripped something onto the painting before fading away as mysteriously as it had appeared. Eleanor's heart pounded in her chest as she played the video over and over, her mind refusing to accept what her eyes had seen, turning slowly, almost reluctantly, towards her canvas. Eleanor was met with yet another shock. The painting was complete, perfect in every single detail, a lifelike masterpiece of her own visage. However, the eyes that stared back at her were empty black pits, voids that seemed to suck the light and life out of the surrounding air. She stared, a scream building in her throat, as her painted eyes held an abyssal darkness that threatened to devour her whole dot, compelled by a force beyond her understanding. Eleanor reached out to touch the canvas. To her utter disbelief, the surface rippled like water at her touch. The moment her skin made contact, the room seemed to grow darker, the shadows in the corners thickening. Watching, waiting, trembling, she stepped back. And that's when she noticed something else that sent ice sluicing through her veins. Her reflection in the studio window was gone. Instead, the painted version of her figure was reflecting back from the glass, grinning with a malicious anticipation that twisted her painted features into something grotesque as days passed. Eleanor found herself unable to paint anything else, her talent and will trapped in the very canvas that haunted her. She was drawn to it, staring for hours, watching as her painted self began to move imperceptibly. Like the slowest of animations coming to life, neighbors began to whisper about never seeing Eleanor, about shades always drawn and an eerie silence hanging over her usual vibrant home. They didn't know about the rippling canvas or the missing reflection. They didn't see the nights Eleanor stood in the dark, her figure slowly merging with the shadowy silhouette that had once dripped darkness onto her portrait dot. In the telling of this tale, remember the artist Eleanor, who painted herself into oblivion. Where she went, none can say, but if you ever find yourself facing a painting too vivid, too real, beware. For in the world of shadows and oil paint, there is something that waits to break free into ours. And sometimes, it is only through a canvas that these dark silhouettes find their way, dripping darkness into our world. One brushstroke at a time. Like and share the video. Subscribe if you dare to watch more scary stories.